Good afternoon, and welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch, and I hope you're all energized to tackle the afternoon. Our first panel for this afternoon is a conversation about community colleges and the role they can play and they could play, if we play it correctly, in local news ecosystems. It's my pleasure to turn it over to my friend Cole Goins, who will lead the discussion. Cole? Let's put our hands together for Cole and the panel.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Good lunch, yeah? Settling in? My name is Cole Goins. I'm the managing director of the Journalism and Design Lab based out of the New School. All right, we got one shout. Shout out to the New School, great. Love a good woo. We'll get to as many woos as you want to give during this presentation. Is great, the more the merrier. We'll talk a little bit about the work that we're doing. We are running this national initiative right now, working with community colleges as hubs for local news. So we're gonna get into that during this presentation and give you really a deep look at a collaboration that's really humming in Cleveland. So introduce my guest panelists here.
Rich Weiss, the executive director of Neighborhood Media Foundation. We support any community members talking about their own communities, wherever there are communities.
Hi, I'm Helen Maynard. I'm the managing editor for collaborative media for Signal Cleveland, the nonprofit newsroom powered by Documenters Cleveland.
And good afternoon. I am Erika Bell. I am the director of the Access Centers, which is an outreach of our county's community college, Cuyahoga Community College in Cleveland, Ohio.
All right, so Cleveland is fully in the building. Anybody else from Cleveland? Nobody else from Cleveland? Wow, okay, that's unfortunate. Well, maybe some Clevelanders watching from home. So we are here to talk about a collaboration that we have been working on for the past year plus now. Here's some, you can see all the partners that are involved in this. We have been working together to create a community journalism program based out of Tri-C, so Cuyahoga Community College, Tri-C. And that community journalism program is basically, we've created this non-credit certificate in community journalism. So it's essentially a free, accessible program for anyone who wants to learn the tools of journalism. We go over the basics, the fundamentals. We incorporate an emphasis on design thinking and systems thinking, which is key to the pedagogy of our program at the New School. And this program is now in its second iteration. We're actually, next week will be our second, will be the last class of our second course. And we will have about 30 folks who have the certificate and have went through the full program. It's 8 weeks. It's been virtual so far, and we're talking about doing it in person in the fall. So that's what we are working on together. You can see behind me, this is a mix of people, some familiar faces from folks on the stage, and several of the folks who participated in our first cohort last fall. And also you got Frank Lewis from Signal Cleveland, who's also been key to this project and this team, and also some community media publishers that Rich mentioned working with in Cleveland. A couple, you can see Deepa here on the left, works with the Lotus, which serves the Indian community in Northeast Ohio. She's actually participating in our cohort right now. Tammy up here on the top right is another, she's a community leader and an organizer, works for the Business Improvement District, right? Or the Community Development Corporation in a neighborhood called Fairfax in Cleveland. And she's a good example of someone who doesn't necessarily consider herself a journalist, but is an information leader in the community. And so she's actually participating in the second class right now. She's both sessions she's doing. So she's really trying to steep herself in ways and tools to keep her community informed. And it's a really good example of the kind of, just a range of the people that we're getting in these programs who want to learn journalism skills and who want to really figure out how they can share stories from their communities and circulate reliable information. This is part of a national program that I mentioned that we're running at Journalism and Design. So a little bit we have a lab at the New School and Journalism and Design, which we run community-based programming outside of the university. So right now, this is a key question that we're asking with our work, which is how can we center community colleges as hubs for local news and equip more people to produce and share reliable information, right? So this question is really key to the work that we're doing, and like I said, we're working. I have this idea here that we all have roles to play in keeping our communities informed. So as I was mentioning, this program isn't necessarily geared toward equipping people to go get a job in a newsroom tomorrow. Although if that's a pathway that you want to go down, we are here to support you. This idea that we can work together and support each other in creating more informed communities, and this program is a way to basically equip more people with the tools to do that, right? Sharing the fundamentals of journalism. Here's a little bit about the other programs that we have. Like I said, this is one of about 9 programs that we've started with 8 other community colleges around the country. We have one. The first was actually in Philly with Resolve Philly. A shout out to my Resolve crew in the building too. And they actually are wrapping up the 3rd iteration of that program. That happened last week. So about probably more than 100 folks have gone through that program already with Resolve and the Community College of Philadelphia. We're working with 4 colleges in New Jersey to also launch these similar programs, these certificate programs in community journalism. And where else are we working? We're doing a partnership in North Carolina with Fayetteville Technical Community College. And I think that's most of them. Also with DC Humanities. We're working with Humanities Councils as well, who have been a key partner of ours in New Jersey and in DC. And to date, more than 200 people have gone through these programs and received training in journalism of some kind. I get to the genesis of Cleveland here now, back to Cleveland. This all started, I think, I participated in a workshop by Neo Sojo, so the Northeast Ohio Solutions Journalism Collaborative. Rich was among the participants there and followed up with me afterward, and we connected, and that really led to this collaboration starting. Rich connected with folks who worked at the Humanities Center at Tri-C. That led to a class that we developed with community college students, and they did an information needs and assets assessment of the Broadway Slavic Village neighborhood in Cleveland. That, which you can see some of the flyers and the final report that the students produced on the right. So that was really the starting point, is working with students to go deep in that neighborhood and to really get a sense of what were some of the information needs and wants of the folks in Broadway Slavic Village. Turns out Broadway Slavic Village is also the site of a 4th, is it up and running yet? The 4th Access Center, right? So what Erika was talking about, she'll give us a little bit more detail about here shortly, but will be where another one of these access centers will be housed. That led us to working together, and then we got connected with Erika, Suzanne Ortiz at the Corporate College of Tri-C to create the certificate program that I was just telling you about. This is the enrollment page here. And this collaboration really enables us, one, to all work together to be able to facilitate this program. We partner with also a local journalist and community journalism instructor, Charlotte Morgan. Couldn't be here today, but shout out to Charlotte. She's been amazing and has really led the facilitation of this entire program and created several other community journalism programs. She's even worked the through line from this session to the next one, as she was working with Planet Detroit and training folks in their community journalism program. So shout out to Planet Detroit. The key to what we've been trying to do with these certificates and the opportunities that are involved are creating these pathways. So I talked about the roles that people could play. Not everybody wants to write a news article as an outcome, right? That is a great outcome. We can also think about other ways that people want to participate in their local news systems and equip them to be able to do that. Signal runs a documenters program, for instance. I know there are other folks who are affiliated with documenters here as well, so getting paid to go cover public meetings. Maybe you want to launch your own news outlet. Maybe you want to work with Rich and start a new community media publication. Maybe you just want to be more informed and be able to assess what comes across your social media feed. So people are using these skills in a variety of ways, and to really think about the ranges of applications that folks can have so that we can build this network of support for folks. So with that, I'm going to get to questions now. So, Erika, this is really rooted at Tri-C, and I think our early conversations just got me so excited. There was a natural alignment from the first Zoom call that we had when we started talking about the work that you lead at the Access Centers and what we were trying to do. Can you just talk about the mission and how this program aligns with what you do at the Access Center?
Sure. So the Access Centers is the community college's extension of access into the community. As you know, community colleges are open access. However, what we found is, based upon the data of our zip codes, many of our neediest zip codes are not, we're not getting the enrollment from those areas, from people who would most benefit from attending one of our programs, whether it be workforce training or a degree program, connecting to upskill for better paying jobs, what have you. So we decided to look at those areas and create, in partnership with some trusted community entity, these access centers where people right in their neighborhood could connect, right, and at least enter an on-ramp to the community college, build relationships, to build trust, and also learn what we have to offer beyond the two-year degree. And so that's where this program really fit in. We have 4 centers. One happens to be in the Broadway Slavic Village where that study was done. And some of that same data about why we selected that location for one of our access centers came out in that study. So when Cole contacted me, I don't know, maybe Rich, I guess, gave him my name, or I'm not sure, but he was just like, hey, I have this program I want to talk to you about. I think it'll be a good fit. I was familiar with Rich's publications and had heard about the documenters. Actually, there was a documenter that worked in the neighborhood where my campus sits in Central neighborhood. So familiar with my community colleagues here, but not really a full understanding of their work and how this all could connect. But after talking to Cole, and then really, I have a background in journalism, so anything journalism is a go for me. But I like information, and I understand that traditionally there are neighborhoods in Cleveland that don't get information, don't get trusted information, and don't know where to get information or how to source for fact the information that they do receive. Growing up in some of those areas, what I do know is if my neighbor says it though, right, I trust them. Or if the church on the corner where we may go to the food bank or what have you, gives us that information, we trust it. And so this was just completing the circle of this work, but also giving people information and empowering them to take control of what they feel is happening to them in the neighborhood, and being able to be impactful about how their neighborhood is being, if you will, regentrified or rebuilt or combined in some cases with other neighborhoods or what have you. And our first go around, I think we just advertised, sent it out to everybody I could think of that it made sense. We had a nice, strong group, mostly of people like Cole said, Tammy, who are the information purveyors in their community, right? They may not want to be journalists, but this is the go-to person in the community. When you need something, where do I go? We started out with about 15 people like that. And then also we do have a journalism program at the community college. However, it has now, with the decline of traditional journalism in our city, newspapers and things like that, has been broadened into kind of a social media program, but we do still have a student newspaper. So the journalism chair, who also oversees the student newspaper, said, hey, that could also be, Cole talked about creating pathways. So that could also be a pathway for youth community members into our program at the college. And so he started the work on the academic side actually to create a credit by exam for completers of the course to be able to take that credit by exam and come into our journalism program with, I think, maybe between 2 and 4 hours already under their belt as they enter our journalism program. So right now, this is the end of our fall semester. Enrollment for the class doubled just for the second iteration. I mean, we were all just super shocked, yet pleased. So clearly there is a need out there for this, as I said, particularly in our community where we used to be a city of 2 competing newspapers years ago, and multiple ethnic community newspapers. For my community, namely the Call and Post, that is still around, but it's so hard to get, so hard to find anymore. And then in some neighborhoods, a lot of Rich's publications, some of the municipalities think a little more of their residents and send it in the mail to every address in that municipality. Others, you got to pick it up as catch can wherever you can. So being a city where there is sometimes shaky trust in government and information, we really, as the communities college, as we like to call ourselves, are proponents of educating people and empowering, and this program does just that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Erika. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the 4-credit side of it too, right? And as I mentioned, you know, if folks do want to go continue their education, they want to go get a job in a newsroom, they want to be a journalist, like think about that as a career, they can continue their education, thinking about that transition too, because I think, you know, these programs have been geared more for non-registered students. Students who are already enrolled at the college are free to take them, of course, and we're thinking about how the college is out in the community, which is what I love about the access centers, and thinking about community colleges as infrastructure, right? And that's what I really appreciate about the access centers, is like you were in communities physically, and people know Tri-C, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So again, talking about that trust, we are not only the city of Cleveland's community college, our community college is county-based. And we have campuses that really touch the neighboring counties. But we are, if you will, the entity for workforce training in our area when you talk about industry certified training that people can take around the country or the world for their careers. But we had hoped that this just fit right in, right? The access centers, again, were meant to be an on-ramp, right, to empower people who may never have thought about going to college or coming to us for even workforce training. But this class is empowering, it builds confidence, it now kind of proves to themselves, hey, I can do this, I can share this information. And I know that it is fact. So, you know, I'm learning to source information for fact versus, well, I heard, and, you know, going to the polls, you get a lot of this information. So it, even more so than necessarily creating journalists, I think Helen, I don't want to steal her thunder, but she made a statement earlier about journalist is a service to the community. And I think that is what we are really empowering people to be, a service to their community. In moving forward in sustainability, we're really thinking about where can these people find, take this skill or craft and find employment or work. And, you know, we're talking about how that might be in our city government, working with our ward representatives. Actually, we are looking to have some fellowships, possibly. Our food bank is looking for people to tell the story of food insecurity and how they are working through that in the community. So when we get those types of requests, we now have skilled and empowered people to meet those needs.
Excellent. So you mentioned, Erika, too, you know, the state of the media ecosystem in Cleveland. So Helen, you're with Signal, a newer news organization in the city. Do you want to talk a little bit about how your support of this program kind of works toward your organization's board goals around engagement and working.
Sure. Our goals, when we came into the news ecosystem as Signal Cleveland, it came out of a long process, even before Sojo, before the Solution Journalism program came in. Cleveland Foundation wanted to sit everybody down and say, where are the holes, where are we lacking, what can we do, can the community support this? And so we're to be part of the ecosystem. We're not there to take over, we're not there to be single source. The idea is that we're available. Our office is an open community space. People can come in and have meetings there. They do all the time. We work with Rich and Rich's journalists to try to make sure that we're covering everything. And so the idea is that you can tell your own story as well as we can tell the story. And so we want to make sure that people want to tell the stories. Maybe they just need to learn the storytelling process. Maybe they'll decide, I want to be a journalist. And we've got to stoke that fire, because if we are not encouraging people to be journalists, there won't be any journalists. So this really is at the core of what we do. Documenters, a lot of you are familiar with documenters. They're here in Detroit. They're in a lot of cities. They come in and they're looking at meetings. They get paid to use a particular note-taking process to get to the facts, and we can amplify that at Signal by taking those facts and looking into the more, writing more of a story, asking you what you think about the facts, and getting that reciprocal information, which is maybe also the thing that's lacking in journalism. And this is where, again, goes back to the community college, the community. People, we as journalists are talking, and it's all going out, but what are we really taking in? And so this is a chance for us to also interact with the people who are interested in journalism, get story ideas for the folks who are in the class, help them build the story idea themselves. So it's 100% about Signal's mission, part of Signal's mission, part of an extension of the documenter's mission.
And we were working with Frank Lewis, who I mentioned at Signal, has been one of the co-led sessions with us on writing like a journalist. And we are trying to support folks who do want to tell the stories, right? To actually, from the building a network of people through this class and through the programs that we can do together at Tri-C as another entry point for people to be able to engage in building the support network. And Rich, that actually brings me to you. You work with how many community media outlets in?
20 now.
So it's a lot of like local newspapers, online outlets that serve a wealth of different communities around the city. So, Rich, can you talk a little bit about like how this program and works and can benefit folks in the media outlets in your network?
Yes. I don't know if anyone in the audience has noticed, but community journalism doesn't right away get a lot of respect. It's not like the first thing that people think of as far as how we can actually save journalism in the country. I have different opinions. It's a can of worms. I won't get into it. But understand that going around and trying to get wheels spinning, if you've got an idea that involves community members telling stories from their own communities, it is boosted by having the revered community college in the area that has, our population has not seen a levy that they will not approve for Cuyahoga Community College. It's just an excellent credibility-raising partner for us as community media outlets, fiercely independent community media publishers, to be associated with that. Also, Signal Cleveland, a new, exciting nonprofit community media citywide that is here not to compete with us, but to collaborate with us. So that right there, again, is a huge benefit that we see from this partnership, even just to create a community journalism certificate. But then, of course, the partnership, again, with the new school and the Journalism Plus Design Lab, the fact that we have these partners that are known throughout our community, sometimes all it takes for community journalism is a double take. It's like, got them. If they just, if if they're not just not listening to the fact that community members are talking about their own communities, okay, good, that's nice for you little communities, let's move on to real solutions. If the partners are enough just to make people think, wait a second, if they are treating this whole connection with community members that these little lowly community media outlets have, maybe there's something to it. So that's a huge benefit for us. We benefit also from the healthier, more lively media ecosystem because we get more reporters, we get more people talking amongst each other about what's going on in our communities, and when we collaborate, we bring much higher quality information to all of our completely separate audiences, and that's 20 completely separate audiences. I would say even 21 completely separate audiences. And we also benefit from taking the class ourselves. As you saw, Deepa was in that picture. She's from The Lotus, which is our oldest community media publication for our India community in Cleveland. And they are experiencing a resurgence, and she wanted a brush up of her community journalism skills, and so she took this class. And the fact that that we also, I also have to say that as far as as proof that Signal Cleveland is much better intertwined with our community media ecosystem than other more competitive outlets have been in the past. Charlotte Morgan, who teaches this class, came available to teach a class, and the colleague we've been mentioning, Frank from Signal Cleveland, noticed that, reached out to her, said, we are developing a community journalism class, you want to get involved. That alone is such proof that we have a different media ecosystem developing in Cleveland, and man, did we get the best community journalism teacher
I hope Charlotte is watching from the live stream for the shout out. I will say, since we're running out of time, I know this is very fast for a panel discussion with 4 people, but I think Rich, you just made a point. It was just about this collaboration works because we all are working in service of this goal, which is a more informed community, right? And if we think about that as our goal, how are we all working together to strengthen the resilience of a network, like a local network? Because if one it's not all about, one institution or one newsroom. It's about building the community's power and the resilience to be able to, fill in the gaps when gaps are, and for legacy media systems that have long excluded many communities from the coverage and misrepresented them. So how do we work to support folks and build that local network? We don't have time for questions, unfortunately, but our emails are up here. We hope that you will reach out to us, I'll stop there. I think that's our time. So thank you so much, everybody. Hope you reach out.
Thank you very much.
I will say real quick, we are looking to do more of these programs. If you work with a community college or you know of a community college and are interested, please do get in touch, and we would love to collaborate.
I can highly recommend it.
Okay. Thank you very much to Cole and the team. It's been great to hear about your work to support community news in Ohio.